So this question has come up before, but let me ask you again. Are you going to be prepared to link your brain to the internet? Today we're talking all things in neurotechnologies, and hey, I'm John Harris, and welcome to another episode of Exponential Radio. Look, we're moving into the situation where there's going to be less of a boundary between the mind and our understanding through technology, our understanding of how it functions. They're expecting by perhaps the end of next year to have a fully artificial memory implanted in the brain. And obviously this is going to increase functionality as far as personal and professional abilities. You're going to be able to do things that you definitely wouldn't be able to do before. So it's going to create a very powerful increase in our evolution, if you like, in a very short space of time. Other things to think about, how the brain functions is very important for a number of reasons, but how it functions and how it interfaces with the world is really important to understand, and these are some of the things they're looking at and learning in real time. Some of the positives, look, they're using neuro headsets for that. Some of the positives, we're looking at disabled people, we're looking at prosthetics, wheelchairs, and these are all being able to being controlled by the mind. I don't know if you saw recently that we had a quadriplegic person who started to play games on the computer with the mouse purely from his mind with Neuralink, purely moving it with his mind. So these things are happening, and there's going to be more and more of it. And you know, we've spoken before about uploading your conscious into the cloud and being able to download it into another body. So we'll see how that goes. But just as far as this neurotechnologies, and it does dovetail a little bit into AR and VR and how that's going to play out, because that's going to become more and more part of the norm as we get the glasses specifically to be much more normal, should I say, instead of these big clunky things. When it starts to get to a smaller size and something that can be acceptable and can clear, that you can use it, see things, or you can see through it clearly, so as it becomes more acceptable socially. Some of the other things to think about, you know, when you talk about this ability, you're going to talk about the increase in potential for sports people. You're going to talk about it for learning about food and addictions, helping out with addictions. There are other things. Some of these data diagnoses that you can do will enable us to do treatments looking at the actual interaction of the brain and in real time, and seeing how certain things affect certain areas of the brain and for what reasons. And that dovetails into mental health as well, looking at depression and things, and looking at how those brain functions and what we can do about it. So these are some things that are fairly positive. Look, understanding individuals, having access to understanding the law better and responsibility, those behavioral changes we'll have to think about. We'll also have the sort of the next brain level. So if we had to evolve over time and build our brains out to a greater capacity, this would take a long time. Okay, what we do have is we have this ability to a rapid evolution through technology. So the brain becomes to the next level computation, being able to reason, predict, and get reaction in a digital, in an AI format when we link some of these tools and technologies together. Of course, there are always negatives, and some of the negatives are brain-based discrimination. We've already seen this now with AI and setting in certain parameters and filters, and what that's led to. You've got to be very careful with that, how that starts to become discriminatory. You know, we got to understand that we're more than just a brain and more than just this AI. Though this is such a keen driver of everything at the moment, as we understand the human mind more, we also got to understand that we are more than that. We also have a heart. So we need to then appreciate how we apply the law. Human resources is going to be another issue. And, you know, consumerism, how that's all going to play out. Of course, the fields that's really going to impact would be education. And, you know, if people are linked to the internet, why are you going to need the normal type of education is going to disappear altogether. So how that's going to play out, I'm not sure. We got privacy issues as always. Who's going to be in control of what, and who's going to have access to what? humanity itself. How's this going to affect humanity itself? And again, we talk about things like the haves and have-nots, which is really a very big issue. And the thing is getting blurred between man and machine. As we know, we get general AI, that's going to get blurred just about completely. And as we get to super AI, that's, these are times that we're not going to be able to distinguish one from the other. So those are things that we're going to have to think about. And these are all very complex issues. They're not going to be ironed out very quickly. It's going to take time to iron these things out. Other things we've got to think about is there's going to be a cultural shift. As I say, those that have and move ahead with these technologies and have these access and links to the internet, and those that don't, they can't afford it, let's say, these things are supposed to be democratizing, but it's still going to start out as an affordability to the scale of economy. And how fast will people move ahead, and how fast will they leave others behind? There's going to be a disembodiment of communications. You're going to be thinking how you normally talk and how you relate to people with your worldview. Now you're going to have a completely different universal view. So there's going to be a huge change there. It will give a massive improvement in performance, and obviously, those guys going on quiz games are going to be pretty tough to beat. You're going to think about new behaviors with this higher cognition. How's it going to change our behaviors? And again, how's it going to go into certain segments of the population? We've got this coming. We've got a lot of these technologies interacting. They're coming together. They're merging. You're going to talk. We've spoken at length about some of these other technologies, other than just the AI, other than VR, AR, and so forth, and now the neurotechnologies, nanotech, how these are all going to coexist in biotech. It's going to be very, very interesting and also very difficult. I think there's going to be a big challenge. Longevity is another one. If I think about it, your medical aid, if you're going to live 200 years plus, how the medical aids are going to run, it's going to become real-time observation, I guess, of how your body is reacting at any given moment and how that's going to work. So there's many, many things. We can talk for a long time about these converging industries with accelerating technologies, advanced technologies, and how they're going to play out. Interesting times. And as usual, you can go and get some of the back issues, episodes that we have on johnarthurharris.blogspot.com, and we will see you in the next episode.